been a minute. Okay. Oh, Paul. Hello. How's it going? Oh, hello. Can I re-upload my old videos? It'll help you learn more. Unfortunately, no. Everything you need to know is already in my videos. Like, all the knowledge that you need to become very good at Marvelous Designer, it's already out there. Skyvork, hello. What? You got a crown there. That's pretty cool. Raphael Sculpts, hello. Wow. Okay. A lot of people. Hey, I did not expect so many people immediately, but this is fantastic. This is very exciting. Hello, everyone. Okay, I guess I can kind of explain. There's not much to explain. I'm obviously streaming. Hold on. Like you say, it's been a minute since I've done this, so just making sure things are all working. Anton. Man, I feel like I might recognize some of these names, but it's been a while. Cool. So, anyway, streaming some Marvelous Designer. I want to make some stuff. So we got the little anime avatar here. We're gonna make some outfits, but this is pretty cool. The I guess beta version of the new version of Marvelous Designer. So it does have some new features in it that are pretty cool, which I get to test. But I'm also gonna stream some of it, so very exciting. Hello. Okay, more people. Hello, from O3DF. Hello to everyone. Yeah, I know. Live stream, crazy, right? Crap. I'm remembering how to do this. Like, it's been a while. I'm making this dress. This is a great dress to just kind of warm up on. It's actually a really great type of dress to learn Marvelous Designer with too, because this is what I tell people when you starts with something simple like this, because they tend to be a little bit more complicated and difficult than you think, but they're a great learning type garment. Am I using a MacBook? No, I have a PC I built several years ago before things got stupid expensive. I probably need to upgrade, but can't afford that right now. It's a little pricey. Am I back? I'm back for today. Back for right now. We're just making stuff. Okay. Anyway, I guess I'll just kind of talk through some of this. I think that's what I used to do. I already set up a sloper. Love slopers. I love slopers. But I think have I learned some stuff in the last couple of years? I think I have. Anyway, slopers are great. Start with a nice little sloper, and then you just cut the shape of the garment you want to create. So I want to create this shape. So let me talk through my process a little bit here. Okay, you find the garment you want to make. In this case, I want to make this dress. I will always start out with just like a basic t-shirt and, in this case, a skirt that fits. If it were pants, I'd make pants. The most important part of making anything in Marvelous Designer, by far, is to make sure it fits first. Like, it has to fit. If it doesn't fit, nothing you do in like with fancy patterns or anything is gonna make it look better. It has to fit first. So when you're doing something, especially on a stylized avatar like this, which is actually much harder to tailor on, you've got to add your correct darts, add your correct shaping, and once it fits, then you can start making your actual garment. That's the basic idea of a sloper. So we've made that. Gonna cut these shoulders. Actually, I don't want to cut these yet. Actually, no, that's fine. I'll just cut them. Internal lines. There we go. Anyway, hope everybody's doing well. Yeah, I'm doing all right. just learning a lot of stuff. Okay. So I'm just going to cut and sew those, and we'll hide them. Again, they're still sewn together, which is nice. So now they can be cut apart, and even when you simulate, it doesn't fall apart. Okay. Let's see. We'll add a point to the pattern on the end. Another internal line here. Whoops. I love add point on start end. It is a great feature. All right. Let's set this out. This just a quick warm-up dress here, just warming up. We'll get to some of the more fun stuff, but I always like to start relatively simple. And as always, I'm going in on all these sight unseen. I've never made these before, so we're going on this adventure together. Hopefully, it won't go badly, but sometimes it does. If you remember my old streams, garments didn't always work out. Okay. See, cut and sew. Looks fine. Lining all that up. Okay. Oh crap, did I want to adjust the neckline? I think I wanted to adjust the neckline. Oh, that kind of sucks. Okay, I needed to adjust this neckline up, and once you cut things apart, it makes it harder to adjust the neckline, but we're gonna see if we can just match that stuff up and kind of move this neckline up so the collar will start correctly. Yeah, let's do that. Then that screwed up this whole thing, which is great. We'll just wing it. Move it. See if we can move these just enough so that my sewing lines match up. That's fine. Fine. Okay. 2.3. Perfect. Pull this down. Pull that down. Okay. I'm sure that's good enough. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Okay, let's. Should have put the collar on first. That's my bad. But now I can put a collar on. Again, whenever I'm making a collar, it doesn't matter if it's like this straight up and down collar or a folded over collar. You just start with a rectangle first, and then you shape it as you go. As long as you kind of know. Is that right? Did I superimpose that correctly? I apparently did. Okay, great. It's rendering. Oh crap, I forgot to set my default thickness, or my default particle distances. Wait, why is that so thick? Oh, I made that 5 instead of 1. To me, the default particle distance that Marvelous Designer sets you at is 20, which I think is too high. And my computer is still pretty good, so I usually, where's my settings, preferences? Set all my default particle distances down to 7 actually, which is quite low. You might not want to go that low if you're just like initially kind of setting up a garment, but if your computer's strong enough, sure, go for it. Clever, hello. Back for today, baby. Let's go. It's very exciting. It is. Okay. Scale this down again. This is the way I like when I'm like sizing stuff. I never measure. I talked about this a long time ago, but again, it's worth repeating. I don't measure. I don't, in the sense that I don't look at this line length and be like, oh, this line is 121.3. Let me make sure. Let me see what this line length is over here. It's whatever. It says 152, so I need to do that. Nah, don't have time for that. What I do is I just eyeball it, right? I scale it up, and I'm like, okay, let me go to my edit sewing tool. This is one of my most common hotkeys, or yeah, edit sewing. B hotkey. Great hotkey. And then you just click on the line, and you can see the difference. And it says the difference between this and this is 2.3. I'm like, okay, that's 33, and this is 36. So this top collar piece needs to be a little bit longer. 0.9. As long as I'm within 1 millimeter, I'm fine. That's all good. What program? This is OBS, right? Yeah, it's kind of the standard streaming software, OBS. Nick, hello. Welcome, welcome. Yes, a live stream. I know it's yeah, pretty unusual, but exciting. Okay, so you got those matched up. Now, colors. Colors I like to make fairly stiff, right? Usually I make them a little stiffer than real life because generally I'm making things more stylized or whatever. So what a lot of people do is strengthen their colors. I don't like strengthening. For one, it turns it orange. Now there is a way to turn the orange off, right? You can actually go in and be like, oh, where is it? They've added some, crap, I don't even know where it is because I don't use this. Show hide, show, oh, where is, oh, it's, you gotta, okay, you gotta click in a blank area, right, wait, format 3D background, no, where is this? Well, now I'm invested in this. I can't remember where it is, but there is an option to turn off like the color for like strengthen, solidify, freeze, so it doesn't have this like really garish color. I don't know where that option is, but it is there. It does exist. So let's unstrengthen that. Anyway, my point is I don't like strengthen. Duralinked, hello. Green Demon. I recognize that username. There's a few usernames in here I recognize, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah. My point is I don't like strengthen. The other problem I have with strengthen is that it's just like super strong and there's no, you can't control how strong it is. It's just like, boom, really strong fabric. I like to have a little bit of nuance in my super strong fabrics. That's why I like to bond. And bond is just a fabric override. It's just like, if you twirl down, you've got like the physical presets of this bonded area, and they're the same as the fabric presets, right? And you can just crank up the values here. But recently, they have added the physical property type of elastic, which is really cool. I actually don't know like the equivalence of what elastic is to fabric. I just know it's stronger. So I like to set this to fabric, and by default, this like 75 is quite strong. I don't think it's as strong as solidify, because solidify is just a little too strong for me. So anyway, my point is, I like to use bond. I like to use that elastic setting to make it just like a stiffer, kind of, not rubbery material, but just like a more structured material. And you can control the settings. You've got your strength and stiffness settings, so if this is too strong, you can kind of control it here, and it doesn't give you that horrible orange color. Cool. So that's why I make my colors that way. Oh crap, did I need to... this collar is fitted around the neck, so let's just... oh, so this is something else I've started doing. I don't know, I might have started doing it near the end of when I was streaming, but this is something I love doing, and that is, so there's this concept in sewing, right? Slash and spread. You know, you like make a cut and then you can open or close something with the slash and spread technique. You see this in patterns all the time, is how they add fullness. There is a slash and spread tool. I'm not the biggest fan of it just because it's like an extra step, and you're kind of like locked into the amount you slash and spread. I don't like going through the process of grabbing that extra tool. So this is the same thing as that. And you can use the slash and spread. It's very useful. It's been 5 years and there's still no fullness tool. Just throwing that out there. Fullness tool. Anyway, but they already know that. It's fine. Instead of slash and spread, I will just use a transform box here, and I'll move the pivot over to the place I want to pivot, and then I can basically do the same thing as the slash and spread tool. I'm just doing it within the context of the bounding box, which I already have. And that way I can fit my collar like so. That's probably too much, so just add a point, double click the pivot, boom, boom. man, there's so much I need to explain that I can't get it out all at once. But there's a lot of cool stuff. Hello, username that is, I believe, Russian, and I can't read. But hello. Okay, so yeah, basically I'm just curving that up. I'm adding, essentially darts in the collar to coax it in around the neck. And then we'll just kind of manually adjust the shape from here because I want a little bit more curvature toward the front of the neck. I don't need, because the back of the neck is a little bit flatter, I don't need quite as much curvature in the back to kind of conform this to the neck. Oops. There we go. All right, put that to curve point. And as always, I heavily rely on keyboard shortcuts, so you're just going to see stuff happening on the screen. If you have any questions about it, just type them out in the chat, what did you do to make that happen? I'll be happy to explain it. But I know a lot of stuff just kind of happens very quickly. Okay, let's do that. And then because I've adjusted the curvature here, I've probably changed the length of some of these sewing lines. Let's look at this. That's 35, 36. Let's go up a little. One. And again, I'm just looking at my sewing lines to figure out how much I need to scale this up or down. So okay, so I'm still a little small. So let's just bring that up. There we go. Okay, great. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Good enough. Okay. Let's see. I want to turn this. Oh no, what happened here? This is not. That curve should be a much smoother curve. I must have changed that curvature when I was adjusting stuff. So let's move that back. Smooth curve. Gotta have those smooth curves. You don't want the little peaks when your curves when they're matched up like that. I know, I'm sorry I took down the old videos, but everything you need to know to become good at Marvelous Designer is in the recorded videos. All the knowledge that is necessary is in there. Lucas, hello. I'm still here, still around. Yeah, that's still where I'm working. Yep. All right. It's Russian. You've been learning from your vids and streams for 6 years. I've been busy. I've been doing a lot of stuff. I've been busy. I've been learning. Not just, I've been kind of expanding my base of knowledge when it comes to garments and the way that they're used in kind of bigger, more spectacular ways, which is pretty cool. But this right here, this is what I really love. So, gotta come back. Okay. Let's see. Let's add a point to the end here. Again, add point to start end is a great tool. Let's see, do I want this? I want to come around the back. Since I don't have a back view of this, I'm just kind of guessing at what's going on around the back. Do I want that to come up to the dart maybe? That might be okay. How'd that look? Let's give that a try. You want to get good at Marvelous Designer? Okay. So the secret to getting good at Marvelous Designer. Crap, what? It's pattern making. A lot of this is just pattern making. Obviously, understanding the technical, this button does this button does that is important. But in the end, the real important thing is actually the pattern making. Understanding how patterns are constructed, how garments are constructed, all that. So that's kind of depends on what kind of production you mean, what you mean by production. Okay, so now in this case, the waist is actually pretty high, so I'm going to bring this waist up. I think I'll just offset as internal line here. I'll offset a lot. Like this. Okay. Is that enough? Yeah, that's fine. I'm sure that's fine. Okay. We'll cut this apart. Dirkster! Hello. I know, it's been a while, but I'm hoping this is just like riding a bike. I'm just getting back on. Feels a little weird, but I think it's starting to come back a little bit. Do I have a good source for learning pattern making? Okay. There's actually a lot more really good videos on YouTube. Obviously, I have one called Pattern Making Fundamentals for the 3D Artist, which is the video I recommend to everyone. But then there are actually just a lot of sewing people. What are they called? Seamstresses? Sewers? I don't know. That explain pattern making really, really well. Oh, there's actually, there's this like Japanese channel that has a series of videos, and they're just like illustrative in a really, really good way. They're like really, I wish I'd seen these videos when I was trying to learn them. I don't remember the channel. Maybe I'll try and find that. Crap, why is this box in the way? No, okay. Fine, yeah. Quarter videos. Hey, you're welcome, Clever. That's what I want to hear. I love when I hear that I've been able to help someone learn this, because this is a lot of fun and it's really cool. You only know how to use built-in models? That's fine. Like, just the built-in models are great. Use those. Okay. Let me spend just a second here actually making some clothes, since that's kind of the reason I'm here, I guess. I mean, at least half the reason I'm here is to actually make some clothes and talk about, again, now that we've got a few people here, this is actually the new version of not just the new version of Marvelous Designer. This is a beta version of Marvelous Designer with some new features that are pretty cool. There's a couple of really cool ones that I want to talk about because they have added some things that I've wanted for a while, and they're pretty cool. And I've been able to test them, which is very exciting. You want to use the ones you made. It should be really easy to import a model. You can just import an OBJ. Like, just export it as an OBJ, and you can bring it in. Marvelous Designer does a really good job of importing custom avatars. It's really, really simple and seamless. Okay, let's see. So the skirt hooks into the top. So let's make this top just a little bit more even. So the retopology, it's much better retopology. The automated retopology is actually quite good. If you just go in and you're like, boom, boom, boom. Where's wireframe? There we go, wireframe. We can switch this over to quad optimize, and it actually does a pretty good job of just like generating a pretty good quad mesh. In terms of like the actual retopology tool, it's still pretty rough. They need some optimization there. But I actually really do like the quad optimized mesh that just generates really, really nicely. They have like, I don't know, I don't know how useful it is, but it's really cool because they have like a rip and tear feature where you can like actually just rip the cloth and it creates like threads and fray on it. It looks really, really cool. For me personally, I don't know how much use I'll get out of it, but there's like some pretty cool tech in it, which is pretty exciting. Yeah. Think of the development of the Marvels program. You mean Marvelous Designer program? I mean, I always wish it were faster. I want everything now, obviously. So yeah, but I agree. I want it faster. I want everything now. But I'll tell you the best feature by far that they've added, which I am massively excited about. Okay, I can show you this now. This is like the best feature in the new version of Marvelous Designer. So I'll just show you this now because I'm too excited about this. in this version, yes, there is one thing I particularly absolutely love about the new version. So you've got an internal line, right? Let's actually add a little volume here. Yeah, a little volume. We'll just, I don't want to do this. Okay. Again, the best thing about this new upcoming version of Marvelous Designer. You got yourself an internal line. I want to put in a pleat or a fold. So I turn on, I apply a fold angle, right? Let's apply a nice strong fold angle here. Okay, there we go. A nice strong fold angle. But I don't want the fold to be strong down here. I can go in, I can turn on variable fold angle. So now the fold angle blends out. Freaking look at that. It just smoothly blends out. So we got that. And then if you want to go the other way, you just flip it. You just flip it. And now it blends that way. Freaking look at that. You guys, I am so excited about this feature. This is very, very exciting. So yeah. This is the best one. Variable fold angles. So good. Okay. Yeah, so you can do like those pleated skirts and just have them blend out really beautifully. I've used it on like collars and lapels to like get a stronger crease down at the bottom and it blends out to the top and stuff like that. Yes, it's a gradient fold. It is a gradient fold, you guys. It's amazing. It's freaking amazing. So yeah. Anyway, what else do they have? They've got a couple other things. Crap, there's something else I was really excited. Oh, I'll talk about this later, because I'm really excited about it, but the execution still needs some work on this one. But it's rest shapes. They're finally doing proper rest shapes, and I'm really excited about that one too. So yeah, there's cool stuff, and then of course the rip and tear. I'll go into the rip and tear stuff, but that's again, for me personally, I'm not gonna probably find much use for it, but it is a really cool thing when you actually see it in action. I know. This is a feature in Marvelous Designer before Chloe gets it. I mean, this is gonna be tough for me. I don't know, because usually Chloe's been getting the features, but yeah, I am alive. Yeah, I'm alive. Okay, back to the skirt though, because I want to get to the point where I can actually use some of these new features in context of an actual garment here. Let's see. So what do I need to do? Oh yeah. Actually, I don't want the waistband. Let's get rid of that waistband. Let's do that. There we go. Okay, so let's just move this up. Match up. I love match up, man. Match up is so good. How big do I want to start? Oh, I'm gonna need to like, okay. Do it. Start. Again, I'm not measuring anything because measuring is good in real life sewing, but here, I mean, if it looks right and it fits, well then the measurements are correct. Okay, let's move this up a bit more. It's like, this is kind of my like fundamental philosophy when using Marvelous Designer is like, if it fits, if the garment fits, then whatever measurement that is here is the correct measurement. So yeah, that's why you don't see me measure a lot. Cut, yeah, soften them, blender, whatever. Yeah, here it just a nice gradient fold. Those drag lines there. Okay, so I'm looking at these folds. This is kind of, again, I'm constantly looking at the folds and wrinkles of the surface of the cloth because they give you valuable information. They tell you what's happening, right? That's kind of the point. Like folds and wrinkles, they tell you very valuable information about the way your pattern is shaped. So in this case, I've got, wrinkles this way. And wrinkles are just compression in a perpendicular direction, or tension in the parallel direction. So in this case, I've got wrinkles going, across here, which means I probably have too much volume this way, which is compressing it's compressing the fabric this way, which is creating those wrinkles that way. So I can go in, I can be like, okay, so now I kind of know where I need to reduce volume and kind of get this skirt to fit. So in this case, these wrinkles are a little bit more complicated. Slight touch-ups with the sculpting tools. So the sculpting tools, sculpting tools, kind of rough. I'm not a fan of sculpting cloth, like, at all. Sculpting cloth to me is just, it's deeply offensive. I hate sculpted cloth. So I'm not the biggest fan of sculpting tools to begin with. But there's this rest length stuff that they're doing. It kind of takes the place of sculpting in the sense that you can just kind of like create wrinkles by just kind of like compressing fabric, and then that is what creates the wrinkles rather than actually, mashing the mesh around, which I don't like ZBrush style sculpting. Let's see. What is the keyboard used? What is the keyboard used? Besides the new features that are coming out, what is a dream feature from our... Oh man, I have a list. I like legitimately have a list. Whenever I think of something, I write it down. I have a lot. I think the one right now, which is like, it's just like a quality of life thing, but I want it so bad. And that is, so when you click on a garment, you get a blue dot, right? It's like, okay, I can see where I am on the garment because I click on it and I get the blue dot. This is like the best thing. I love this blue dot. The problem is a lot of times I'm working with like really complex patterns, and my patterns are like this, right? They're like really spread out because they're symmetrically linked, and I'll be like, okay, I'm zoomed in over here, I'm working in some area, and I'm clicking, and then I go over here, and it's like, because I'm on the symmetric pattern, the blue dot shows up way over here, so I have to move the screen all the way over. I want a like shadow blue dot for symmetric patterns. I think that would be just massively, massively useful. Because so many times I'm working on like a piece over here, but I'm working on its like symmetric twin, and the blue dot doesn't show up, and I've got to go all the way over to kind of get my orientation. So that's like a really big feature that I'd love to see. You've tried sculpting tools? Yeah. At that point, just sculpt in Blender or ZBrush. Fullness tool at the top. It's still there. It's still at the top of the list. That's right. Chloe failed to see if you're a good retopo. I don't find sculpted cloth like appealing at all. I actually find it pretty ugly. I guess that's just because I've been so like immersed in this like studying fabric. I see all the like that's not how fabric works. I get real snobbish about it. Yeah, that's not fabric. What are you doing? So it's a me thing. Do I submit my feature requests? Yes, I do. I've posted on there. They have like suggestion forums and things like that. I think they're probably aware. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So you want to be careful of this. A lot of times when you're trying to fit something to a body, right? It's easy to just like add a couple points and then just make it tight and be like, oh, I made it tight so the wrinkles went away, so now it fits. Making it tight doesn't mean you're making it fit. So just gotta watch out for that. And I think I've done a little bit of that there when you're just like over tightening it as a replacement for actually fitting the garment. So we're just gonna start loosening things up. Let's see, okay. What? Why is this, let's see. And then it's been a while since I've actually used Marvelous Designer, like proper. Mostly I'm in Clo. Actually, no, that's not true. But they have added some features in the last couple of updates that are pretty cool too. Let's see. Let's go this way. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Let's see. You use 3D Coat personally. They've been talking about possibly having a sewing system in it. In 3D Coat. Boy, it's been years since I even saw 3D Coat. I'm not really in the like UV editing space, so they're also adding a CAD room. You're trying to clean up your UVs. Oh, because you don't, okay, I see what you mean. I was like, well, the UVs are literally just flat panels, so they're already, the UVs are just like already perfect. But I guess if you don't want like the darts in your pattern or in your UVs, couldn't you just like, I don't know if you're using Maya, but you could like go into the UV editor and just like merge all the points and then average it out, right? I feel like that would work. A legit stiffness material. Oh, like a just properly rigid thing. I've learned so many interesting things about fabric solvers in general. Not necessarily just Marvelous Designer, but actually just general fabric solvers like everywhere. And apparently they have a really, really hard time with hard surfaces. It's not just Marvelous Designer that doesn't interact well with hard surfaces. There's something about fabric solver calculations in general that make hard surfaces very difficult to like calculate and interact with soft fabric. It's really interesting. But again, I don't know like the technical side very well at all. All right, let's attach this skirt up. So let's do this. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Are you actually concerned with translating, or? Yes, I am concerned with translating into another 3D software. But, and there's so many, it depends on like the amount of stylization you're going for. It just depends on so many things. But there is like a baseline, if you are making some type of simulated clothing, even if it's for another software or some other system, the pattern does need to be correct, because the way fabric calculates everything, it's got like stretch and shear, so it's always calculating on the flat panels. So there does need to be some level of proper garment construction, even if it is a very stylized final output. You generally do need some, some level of like proper construction. Oh, freak Houdini! Get out of here with Houdini, man. Freaking Houdini. Sorry. There's a lot of Houdini people around that I like to give them a hard time. Houdini is a very impressive software, but at the same time, just get out of here with Houdini. Jeez. All right. Oh man, what did I do? Pressure versus thickness collision. For me, pressure. Pressure versus collision. I'm not sure what you mean, because pressure and collision. Are you talking about like when you're doing something quilted? Because they're kind of very different use cases. The Houdini, all the nodes, and no, not for me. So, all right. Again, we're going back to my old streaming days where I just go on tangent rants for a minute here. I'm gonna rant about Houdini just a little bit. I see this a lot. They're like, oh, you make your garment in Marvelous Designer, and then you take it to Houdini because you have so much control in Houdini. You don't have to. Houdini gives you the illusion of control. It's like you've got all these settings, you've got all these nodes, you can control stuff, but that's not the right way to control cloth. You control it through the construction of the garment, right? Okay, well, yeah. It allows you, Houdini's upgraded animation system allows you to animate with all the physics, ragdoll, rigid bodies, cloth, muscles. Yes, Houdini is very good at a lot of things. They're great at like massive, simulations and things. Yeah, I understand that, but like sometimes the Houdini like it kind of grates, but Houdini people is like Linux. Houdini people are the new Blender people. Let's be real. They're just Houdini. No, I've seen some like crazy stuff in Houdini. But at the end of the day, if what you take into Houdini is not, because I've seen a lot of Houdini cloth sims, and they frustrate me. They frustrate me a lot because they're just like, they're trying to create the performance of the garment in Houdini with like settings and constraints and different things like that. And it's like, the what they call the performance of the garment really comes from the way it's made. In that case, in that sense, Marvelous. I actually really do like the Marvelous Designer animation. I think it's really good. Okay, but I'm also making a dress here, so let's make this dress. I don't want to get too off the rails yet. It's not time for that yet. Okay, we need to bring this side seam over. Oh crap, I got this stuff I gotta bring over too. Oh no, how did that get? What? Oh, right. I was adjusting the armhole. I hate when I do that, when I'm like, I've got something hidden to kind of hold it together, and I start adjusting a seam that it's connected to, and then everything kind of gets out of sync, so we're just gonna force that real quick. Browseware. I haven't used that one. Alright, at least this needs to be, yeah, that's what I need to do. So I gotta pull the side seam forward, because I want it to, actually, let's pull the skirt seam back a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Good. Adjust some seams around. And that, boom, boom. Style 3D. I think I tried it once several years ago. I got the free trial. I mean, it's like, man, it's Kirkland? No, Kirkland's a good brand. What's like it's like, what do they call the sodas that are like the store? It's like a store brand soda, basically. It's a store brand soda version of Marvelous Designer. I was like, whatever, I'll just drink the real thing, you know? I mean, they had some interesting stuff, but at the same time, it was weird using it because it's like, this feels like Marvelous Designer, but it's not Marvelous Designer, and I just couldn't get to it. Yeah. All right. Okay, so this on. Okay. That's the link there. Okay. Got some links going. I'm gonna need my M to N sewing for this, because when you gotta sew multiple edges to other multiple edges, you gotta use M to N. Let's see what we got. Making outfits for real-time game assets. Oh, okay, here we go. How many years has it been? I'm afraid to look how many years it's been. I don't even want to know. Time is time is rough. I don't know. So we're just gonna say I'm streaming now, and don't worry about the rest of it. Making outfits for real-time assets. T-pose or A-pose? Neither. I am 100% arms down. Okay, so this is like a big thing for me. First of all, T-pose is absolutely wrong. You should never work in T-pose, ever. T-pose, I sometimes see people working with T-pose. I just die inside. I hate that. But A-pose is better. Best is a proper, like, arms down. Absolutely arms down. If you go in and you get a suit tailored, right? Say you're getting a suit tailored, and you go in and you stick your arms out like that, freaking tailor's gonna slap you in the face with this ruler. Don't do that. You tailor with your arms down, because that is like your true neutral position, right? Even if you go up to here, you're introducing all this tension, and if you tailor in this position, you're going to tailor a garment that doesn't fit, because you've fundamentally changed your body proportions by raising your arms. You need to tailor in as close to arms down as you can get. You do need a little bit of a gap. But it makes a huge difference. I will always try and tailor in like as close to arms down as I can get, because that is the correct body sizing. That's the position you're going to be in for 90% of your life anyway. And the other thing is, if you tailor in the A pose or like an arms up position, what's going to happen is this becomes the neutral position, and all of the tension and wrinkles that you get from there are going to be incorrect, right? So like when you raise your arm, you get tension in here, you get compression up here, and that's important. Those natural wrinkles are important. So you want to start with your proper neutral position. It's like such a big thing for me. Chloe 3D won the lawsuit. I did read about that lawsuit. That was pretty amazing. Yeah, arms slightly bent. I always like to have the arms slightly bent as well, just slightly bent. But the more to a true neutral arms down position you can get, the more accurate your garment's going to be, the better everything is going to look. Armstrong is correct. It is absolutely correct. Is shear basically a multiplier value that applies to both weft and warp? Okay, so stretch and shear is, I'm going to oversimplify this because I don't have really deep, I have a surface level understanding of like fabric properties, but as far as I understand, and stretch is this way, or weft is this way, warp is this way. So it's basically the stretch, and then the shear is the diagonal stretch. So it's not really a multiplier, it's just a stretch value in the diagonal direction. And that's all it is. All right, let's see how we're doing. Let's check my stream map. Okay, here we go. That's nice. Okay, so we get a little puckering up in here, so I'm just going to go in and we're going to clean some stuff up, check my sewing lines, make sure 1.7, we're just going to start matching that stuff up there. This and this. How come bent at the elbows? Again, it's closer to people. We very rarely have our arms completely straight out. We generally have some kind of bend in the elbow, and I think that's more for like actual tailoring, where the comfort of a garment matters. So that's much more common in things like suits, like really classically tailored suits. Like a hoodie doesn't need to have the arms bent to be, tailored for that or something. But yeah, this is getting into like kind of the realm of pattern making that I'm not such an expert at, but I don't know. Right? Actually, I watch, there's a lot of like really awesome suit tailoring videos on YouTube. They're just total ASMR type videos where it's just like there's some, you know, Japanese tailor in his like beautiful quaint studio, and you've just got the sound of the scissors cutting. They're really fun to watch. But I've watched a lot of those, and I love watching tailoring videos. That is such a skill. Let's merge this together. Slightly bent. The fabric looks very unnatural. Yeah, it's a fit thing. Definitely some kind of fit thing. Alright. We're checking our sewing lines. Man, I forgot. I'm so glad I'm here. I'm so glad people are chatting, but I forgot how hard it is to like multitask this stuff. But don't stop talking. Man, it's easy to get distracted. Let's see. 135, 134. And my brain is very single track. It's just single core processor up there. Rush. Hello. Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, try out tailoring in like a more arms down position. It just makes a huge difference. Why are we not fitted correctly up here? Okay, here's another thing I do a lot when I have like some weird tension going on in a sewing connection here. I will just either delete this sewing, or in this case, I will deactivate the sewing, because I just want to see how both these things naturally drape against each other. So I can see, oh, okay, so I've got some, whoa, real weirdness. Oh, I don't want that to be deactivated. And I'll do this a lot on a lot of connections. Like I'll do this a lot on sleeves, where if my sleeve isn't quite fitting right, I'll just deactivate or delete the sewing just to see how things naturally sit. And that gives me a lot of information on how I need to make an adjustment. Okay, so, oh yeah, it doesn't deactivate symmetrically, so we gotta deactivate the other side. Your final normal map has to compensate for right. Yeah, again, your arms, a person's arms are very rarely just totally straight. Man, that's weird. Why is this not fitting right? Alright, we gotta do some pattern investigation here. Let's do some quick investigation. Again, one of the reasons this type of dress here, this is a really good type of dress to practice on. Just find a simple dress and try and fit it as just accurately and perfectly as you can. It's a really good exercise, because there is a lot of this little stuff that'll teach you a lot about how to like tailor correctly. So we got, oh, let's see. So on the back here. Okay, so, but in this case, I actually don't want the waist to be like super fitted on the side. I actually want that to be have like that little bit of a bridge to it. I'm getting a little bit of awareness here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this up a bit. Boom, boom. Put a lot of work into Street Fighter bottle muscle rendering. You expect to see clothing more and more precisely matching body shapes without doing weird things. Rigged clothing is tough though, because right now all pretty much, well, I assume all video game clothing is rigged at some level, at most levels. Let's see. Again, we're going to check our strain map. We're getting better. Good. Boy, there's a lot of pressure today to like do this correctly because it's like first stream back, and I'm like, I hope I can actually make these things. Cause yeah, I'm going in on all this stuff blind. It's my first time making this stuff. You know what? Maybe I need a little bit more volume over here. Let's pull this one down just a bit. Add a little bit of curvature there. Because again, if you'll remember, when I used to stream a lot of my streams, a lot of my garments do not always work out. So I'm really hoping these do. So I don't have to like delete the stream when I'm done. No, I won't do that. I won't do that. Hey, Anton. It's awesome. Awesome to see you again. Can't make any promises, but we'll see. I forgot how much I really enjoy streaming. It's enjoyable. One of the reasons you've modeled in A-pose, not lower, is that normal bakes from high-low poly models. Right. And that is the reason, again, a lot of different departments or, departments want more of an A-pose. Is like rigging wants to be able to skin everything correctly, and, it depends on how they're texturing it and all that stuff. Nicholas, hello. Thanks, Ruskia. Oh, the Unreal Engine stuff. I haven't done anything with the Unreal Engine stuff, but there is a lot of I've seen all the like connection between Unreal and Marvelous, and it looks really cool. But I haven't done like anything with that. All right. Let's see. Let's activate sewing. Let's see what we're off by. Okay, we're off by a lot there. It's weird that it doesn't want to. Do I have no elastic on there? Okay, that's fine. Activate sewing. There we go. Okay, activate sewing. 47. Interesting. You've worked in the entire Unreal Engine bridge, and it's amazing. Oh, that is good to know. Until the entire engine melts. Oh, I'm getting these like super significant drag lines here. All right. Let's just delete this side seam here. Okay, we're just gonna get rid of this side seam and let it drape naturally. Again, it's another trick that you can do. Not really a trick, but it's just a workflow thing. So, okay, so this front panel looks like it's draping correctly. It looks like my back panel is not shaped correctly, and that is why, because that is correct. So we need to figure out what's going on here. So I can just look at this and see. I'm like, oh, okay, this point needs to come over. So if we find that there, I can go in and be like, all right, this point needs to come over, and then this point probably needs to come over a bit here. I should have known this. This is one of the ways I troubleshoot clothes quite a bit, is just delete the sewing line and let it drape naturally and see what it naturally wants to do. And that'll usually tell you where you've screwed up. So let's see, do I want my sewing to be segmented at the top? I think I will, just in case. Let's make sure my sewing line here is correct. We're off by 3.7, not too bad. Why did I remove my old videos and streams? I just, honestly, I didn't want, I knew I wasn't going to be active, streaming for the next little while. I didn't really want them up. Not because I'm a little bit of a private person, and I didn't want people to be like, oh, hey, look at these live streams that are years old. I just didn't want that. So that's all it was. You've been working on a Houdini procedural workflow to make Marvelous Mesh game ready rigged. Oh, the Houdini workflows are pretty cool. I've seen quite a few of them, the way they like proceduralize stuff, and it's pretty neat. But again, Houdini is not for me. You support your outfits to Unity and user class sim, but I wouldn't recommend that. Deprecated tech. Hey, Nathan 3D. I remember that name. I don't remember you specifically, but I definitely remember that name. Hello. This Marvelous Designer. And just in case for anyone who is recently joined, this is actually the beta version of the next version of Marvelous Designer, which should be releasing soon. So it's got some pretty cool new features in here too, which I will hopefully be using. So that's exciting. That's how you started with Clone MD? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, those were very, very exciting days back then, let me tell you. What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh, activating my summit. There we go. Now, why is this? Oh, okay, so we're off here. Let me resew this piece. Okay. Okay, we're getting close to fitting this. Even with my... Okay. Yeah, it's been a minute, that's right. The new scaling feature in MD. Oh, yeah, yeah. That's... I really like that. For those who don't know... oh, I put the wrong way. Holy crap, that's bad. Okay. So I really gotta... Let's actually... Maybe I do want to go smaller on that. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Now we're getting something fitted a little bit nicer here. Okay, let's adjust some curvature. One moment. To adjust a little bit here. Adjust this piece here. Make sure these are turned seams. There we go. Centauri, hello. Hello, hello. Oh, that's, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, it's not really a scaling feature. Well, it is a scaling feature, but it's basic, but it's cool, and I hope they do more. So before, when you would scale something up, the mesh would just kind of explode, right? Now, if you scale evenly, as long, and this only works if you scale completely evenly, it will just get bigger. This is great for refitting, actually. This is really, really helpful for refitting. Unfortunately, if you do this kind of scaling, it does, it you know, kind of explodes out again. But if you do just a completely even scale, it just scales everything up and down, which is really, really nice. And that is in the current version. Used to follow Matthew. Hello. Listen, I'm streaming today. I can't say anything else besides that. So we'll see. Okay. Oh, you want to scale? Let me explode all the pieces real quick. Yeah. Oh, and they do have this feature in the, this is not a new feature in the upcoming version, but they did release it, and that is the lacing feature. I don't know if you guys know about that one, but I was a little, that one was a little bittersweet when I saw that. I was like, that's a really cool feature, but also, you know, it's kind of like one of my most well-known videos is the lacing video. It's kind of the one that a lot of people know me from. I was like, oh, my lacing technique, it's okay. But their lacing tool is actually really good. I am a fan of it. I use it. Actually, you know, we could put some lacing on here real quick, and I'll just demo that real quickly because the lacing tool is good. And I want to make sure, because some of their tools they add in are like, you know, questionable in terms of like their usefulness, but the lacing tool is legit really, really good. So let's say we want to put lacing on the back of this dress. Let me do that. Offset as internal line. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. Wait, do I want to offset this? What am I doing here? Yeah, I think I do want a border on this. That'll be fine. Okay. You don't actually need to put a border on if you don't want to, but I think I will because I need to... Oh, yeah, because I need to make some... Okay, that's fine. And that border's way too big. Let's make that smaller. All right. Took him like 5 years to catch up with your video. I mean, it's not an easy problem to solve. It's definitely not. All right, let's just go 10. Okay, that's fine. Then I want to make a new fabric. Boom, boom. Let's just do that so we can. Because I need to create a bunch of little grommet holes, and I want to be able to. Okay. Actually, let's just offset this by 10. Let's actually 5, because I need to do this symmetrically. Yeah. This is not the most efficient way to set this up, but I'm just freestyling this, so. Wait a minute. Oh, no, I needed to make it a lot wider. I kind of screwed that up. Let me undo. One thing I do really like about Marvelous Designer is you can just undo basically forever. So, which I have utilized quite a lot. I'll be like, man, I screwed something up like 15 minutes ago. Let me just undo a lot, and it gets you there, which I think is really nice. Okay. Used to have more tutorials. The tutorials are there. I did have live streams. Live streams, I did take down, but like I said, all the knowledge you need to learn Marvelous Designer is in those tutorial videos. There's everything you need is there. Yeah. Right up to the point you had to export to Substance or Blender. But I but I hated on it. I'm sure I did. I'm sure I did. Yep. All right. Okay, let me offset by more. Yeah, because this has to. Let's just go 18. That's probably fine. Why am I doing that? Why am I making more work for myself? Just extend that down. That's so much easier. Oh my goodness. Why didn't I just do that? All right, off by 10. Wrong way. Off by 19. There we go. Okay. So much easier. Do it like that. And then we can just copy and symmetrically paste. Boom, boom. Oh yeah, I already have a symmetric copy. Nice. The reason I took down the live streams is just because I basically knew I wasn't going to be active, and I am a private person, and I didn't want people just to be like watching my live stream and be like, hey, look at look at this guy, goofy guy doing his live streams. That's all it was. Just didn't want him up. Okay. All right. Wait. Oh yeah, okay, we're gonna make some lacing. Let's see, let's go to the internal ellipse. Can I explain types of ruffles? Well, it's a trick question because there's only one type of ruffle. It's a ruffle. And ruffles are basically a triangle. That's all. In fact, everything in a pattern is a triangle. Ruffles, pleats, gathering, it's darts, fullness, it's all triangles. Everything is a triangle. It's basically it. Thanks. Thank you. I appreciate it. I know. I felt bad about taking him down, but it was just my choice, and I was like, I'm gonna leave up my tutorials. I'm gonna leave up, all the really important stuff, but I just didn't really want the live streams up. All right. So the first thing you need is just a surface to make your little internal circles on. So then we're just gonna copy and paste, and you can right click to do the paste like that. And Oh, here's the other thing they need to fix. This has driven me crazy since the very first version, and that is when you bring up a context box like this, when you do like offset internal line or a copy paste, you cannot interact with this window while this box is up. It drives me nuts because I'm like, I need to zoom out to see how many I need to make, but I can't zoom out. I really hope they fix that one. It's a big one. Right now, this is just YouTube only. Oh no, okay. Phew. All right, I guess we'll go all the way down. We'll just stop there. So then you take all your little internal circles like so, and we're going to convert to hole. So we're just going to convert all those to holes. Now let's get this piece right up next to this piece like so. And then you got your lacing tool right here. So this is the really nice thing about the lacing tool is you just select your lacing tool, you go to whatever hole you've made, and you start making your lacing pattern like this. Okay, make sure you don't screw up. And if you do mess up like that, you can just hit the backspace to undo, which is great. And then I'll just go back down the other way, like this. Okay. And then hit enter when you're done. Oh, I freaking missed a hole. Man, do I want to go back and fix this? I don't want to go back and fix this, but I think I need to. Oh wait, I could just cut it. Okay, well I'll just talk about this. Right, let you place the boxes, exactly. Okay, so the nice thing, the really nice thing that I really appreciate that they did with the lacing tool is that when you create the lacing, it just creates a pattern piece. It creates a proper piece of fabric that you can interact with because it is just a pattern piece. I'm so glad they did this and they didn't make it just like some kind of black box, you know, separate thing that you can't interact with. This is just a nice actual mesh pattern piece. Okay, so if we simulate this, now we hit sim, right? The string goes all the way through the holes really nicely, but the problem becomes this is not tight, right? So there is a way to tighten this, and I think they mentioned this in one of their tutorial videos, or maybe it is on like the actual manual. The way you tighten this, it's a little bit odd, because what you do not want to do, cut this out so I don't have this bad part. Okay. What you do not want to do is, oops, get rid of that, grab it and pull it. Okay? For the most part, this can work. Actually, in the last couple of years, the stability of the fabric has gotten way better. It used to be like stuff would just pop out. But in the last couple of years, the fabric stability has gotten a lot better. Now, it will still pop out if you pull this too hard, so you don't want to do that. What you want to do if you need to tighten these down is we're going to set a couple little pins on the end points here, so the end points will stay in place like so. What is with the new fabric presets? I love the new fabric presets. You guys, I love the new fabric presets. I know they're great. They really, I love that they have more of a realistic feel to them. I actually really like them. Do you plan on making more video tutorials? Maybe, I don't know. If the feeling possesses me, maybe I'll make a new tutorial. MD custom fabric properties. What do you mean custom fabric properties? Okay, actually I do want to talk about the fabric properties because there's a lot of like misunderstanding around the fabric properties that I want to talk about. Make sense, make me love them. Okay, I will try. I think I'm using some of the new fabric properties now. I think I've customized some of the settings in here. But yeah, this is the you know, it's got the stretch weft growth rate and all the new settings, which is, well, the 4 new settings. Okay. Anyway, to tighten up lacing, all you need to do is you're going to want to use your shrinkage weft. So what the shrinkage does, let's just kind of do a refresher on shrinkage. Shrinkage is it's a scale. It's basically scale. You're scaling things up and down. Scaling in the weft, which is the x direction, and the warp, the y direction. So shrinkage is literally just, that, or is literally just that. If I turn my shrinkage weft to 50%, it'd be like scaling that bounding box in 50%. But there's a big difference. When you scale in with the bounding box, you saw it like physically shrank this this piece of fabric, so it like actually got shorter here, right? So the fabric actually moved up. The other thing it does is it retopologizes. It like remeshes the mesh in there. What the shrinkage does is it scales it down, but it doesn't change the shape in 3D space. So if I set the shrinkage weft here to 50%, it doesn't change anything with the pattern or in the 3D drape, but it has shrunk the polygons. The internal polygons themselves have been smushed by 50%. And again, the weft direction is 50, and the warp direction, or the warp, is the y direction. So it's smushing the polygons themselves in the mesh by whatever percentage is here. So 50% is probably too big, but if we turn this down to 80% and then we simulate, this whole mesh is getting shorter, and so it will tighten up like that. So now we can go back in and we can say, let's go 70, and so you can just start using the shrinkage to start pulling it down and down and down, and that will go ahead and tighten it up. Now, in general, if you have lacing, and you can use lacing, like if you've got a big V-neck shirt and you want the lacing to go across, you can use it there, and it'll kind of bridge the gap. What was my point? Oh, yeah. You still have to be careful because it will... Generally, if I had something like a big V-neck t-shirt, I'd still have like a support mesh in the middle. Because if you get too much tension on the threads, they will tend to still pop out. Even with the improved collision. There's settings in the simulation properties that you can increase. You can increase like the self-collision. Actually, by default, this is 1. I guess I turned this up to 10, which is very high. The self-collision iteration count, that can help collision detection and help keep things tighter. Also, the avoidance stiffness, you can turn that up. That I know enough about the fabric simulation properties to get myself into trouble, but I don't know enough to like. So you probably shouldn't like really mess with that stuff too much, but if you need to, you can. And then you can like delete that. Let's see. Yeah, then you just get this really nice proper lacing, which is more stable than you think it would be. And then if you want to do like. Again, in my lacing technique, I always put on the little grommets, and you can still do that. Buttons. Grab a grommet type button. So again, if you're going to do this, what you have to do is just set the button off to the side, very close to the hole. Let's turn this on like 6 maybe. So that's, no, it's too small. Down to 8. And then you just have to manually move it over in the 3D window. So what's going to happen is this button is, or I guess this grommet now, is anchored to this point here, and it will always stay anchored to that point there, but you can actually move it over to the hole here to create the grommet effect, but it's still anchored right there. Again, you always want to turn like your collisions off, and then you can just have that grommet right in there. But you just set the button off to the side and you physically move it over, and that's how you can get the grommets in there. A Discord server? No, I don't have time for like Discord stuff. So I am in like the Marvelous Designer Discord. They have a Discord channel, and I do lurk around in there. I'll occasionally post. So, did they fix the way grommets and buttons have a seizure every time they touch? I almost always will turn the collisions off on buttons. Again, hard surfaces of fabric do not interact well. It's not just a Marvelous Designer thing. It is like every fabric simulation everywhere has problems with hard surface of fabric interacting. Doesn't the latest MD finally have... GPU sim is really good. I unfortunately do not have a good GPU. I have actually a total potato GPU. But the GPU simulation is excellent. I'm not sure if it's completely on parity. I actually talked to one of the tech guys about like GPU sim. I was like, why is it different than CPU sim? And apparently there is some reason why the way it calculates is different. There's some like really complex math happening that I just completely don't understand. But GPU sim is really good and it's really fast. If you guys have a good GPU, switch over to GPU sim. It's amazing. You can just like work at a 5 particle distance just constantly. It's really cool. Yeah, you only use GPU these days? I know. Man, are computer parts ever going to get less expensive? It's time for me to... Anyway, the lacing tool is really cool. It's really fast. And if you just use that shrinkage weft, you can like tighten it up and loosen it up really easily. Use the lacing tool. It is fantastic. GPU sim is really good. Oh, for animations, I would still, I think I'd still do CPU because I don't know like the technical stuff under the hood, but I think the CPU is still more accurate. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So then I'd probably have to tie that off. They still don't have a good way for tying knots, though. That is the one thing I will say. There's still knots are still just fake them completely. They don't have a good way of making knots. I don't really have a great way of making knots either. I don't have any like super slick tricks for it. I mean, I have some hacky ways of like faking a knot, but yeah, knots are still not figured out yet. Okay, we're pretty close on this. Let's just crank this thing out. Let's go. Actually, you know what? Do I want this is gonna be a problem. Let me just. Okay, I'm not gonna work with this lace right now because this is. We're just gonna go with a regular nice back here. Okay. Let's go white. Let's go black. Let's go. Wait a minute. Why did I? No. Oops. Okay, that's fine. Like so. And then I guess we got. Actually, you know what? We need to. One thing I always like to do, and so if you watched my stream back in the day, you'll remember I always like to add a little bit of like thickness to fabric because fabric is not. Oh, I'm at okay. Focused. Fabric is not like a super thin material. A lot of garments are thicker than you think they are, and that thickness is actually really important to the way a garment feels. So I always like to add just a little bit of thickness, just to make the garment feel a little bit more substantial. And I think it really helps. Personally, I really like it. So I'm just gonna do that, and for that I use my, I don't know, is this my favorite feature, my favorite tool? The layer clone. I love layer clone. I freaking love layer clone. It's so good. I wish they would like kind of expand on it a little bit more, so you didn't have to like remove the linked editing every time. I do like that it finally segments the sewing. I used to do that with like one loop sewing. It drove me nuts. Okay. Anyway, just gonna do a nice layer clone, and then we're gonna offset as internal line here, or offset the pattern outline. Offset pattern outline. We'll do like maybe 2 millimeters. We'll do 2 offsets. This might be a little thick. Oh well, we'll give it a go. We'll do one here. So do that one. The sides, those sides, yeah, sewn up correctly. We'll change all these to, okay, let's make sure that is a turned seam on the center seam. We gotta make sure it's gotta be turned. These are already turned, fine. Good, switch all these. Custom seams, we'll turn this down. Oop, no. No, let's turn this down to 1. Turn off. There we go. Okay. Oh, I know. No, copy. No. Copy symmetrically paste. There we go. Set this one to that fabric. To extend the sewing back down. The darts. That anymore. Okay. Is that? Extend it down it is. Okay. Let's see that. Oh, I think that is because, right, this needs to be turned as well. You know what? That is kind of pushing up, so let's pull that down a little bit so we don't get that puckering right there. Get that a little bit straighter across. Ooh, still a little puckering. Just gonna pull that up. Wonder, does this need to be pulled in just a bit? No, it needs to be pushed out. Why are we puckering? Okay, that's better. Much cleaner. Very nice. Right, let's do the same thing over here. You know what? We need to first. Let me make sure my skirt is shaped correct. I think I want a little bit more volume in the side of the skirt, so we're gonna kind of rotate this. Which one do we want to rotate out? Probably this one. Rotate that out just a bit, and then we want to pull it down. Actually, we want to pull the whole side seam down. Hopefully that'll put a little bit of tension on the side. You want to flare out at the side. Okay, actually, let me talk about what I just did there, because that's kind of like a pattern making thing. Okay. So I've got the skirt, and I want a little bit more volume in the side, right? I want it to flare out in the side a little bit more rather than kind of pushing out to the front, because a lot of times when you add volume to a skirt, it'll like add volume to the front of the skirt. So it's kind of important to know how to try and influence the skirt so that the volume is where you want it. You can never like put it exactly where you want it and have it stay there, because this is a simulation and you're always subject to gravity and those types of forces. But if you want to kind of create the correct influence to hopefully get it to go where you want it to go, essentially, you can think of adding volume as, again, a triangle. Everything is a triangle. It's just a pattern making thing. Everything is a triangle. So if I add a triangle of fabric, you're essentially rotating this open, right? So if I rotate this edge open, I've added this triangle of fabric here. And I've added it right to this corner, essentially, right? So if I added a point here and I rotated the open from this point in the center, I've added the volume in this area, right? So I've added volume here. So when you simulate, the volume would actually, you would actually get more volume in the front of the skirt rather than the side of the skirt. And again, you can understand that because this seam where it is connected either to the waistband or the top or this part of the bodice, that is the only connection point the skirt has, other than itself right here. But let's just pretend this is all merged together. The only place that is actually affecting the way a skirt drapes and behaves is this top seam right here. All this stuff down here, all this shape down here doesn't matter. I mean, it matters obviously, but the only place that is imparting any force to the skirt is at this connection point at the waist. I mean, logically that makes sense, but sometimes it's hard to think about it that way. So in this case, I'm adding volume by rotating this open at the side seam right here. So I did that, but then the other thing I'm doing, again, it's not always going to, obviously it's going to distribute out, right? It doesn't just, you don't just add the volume at that point, it stays at that point. It distributes out through the entire skirt. So we want to add another level of influence to the skirt. And let's say, okay, so if we actually physically take the fabric of the skirt and pull it up, right? I guess this isn't the best fabric to see this happen. But when you do this, what happens is it like, and you can see this, you can just imagine this on a skirt, is you pull it up and you get that like triangle fabric and it flares out, right? It flares out. So by pulling it up, we've created a force that is going to pull out that way, right? So what I can do is I can take this side seam like that, and I can move this down. And what I'm effectively doing is I'm pinching this piece of fabric and pulling it up, and that is causing that tension to pull out right here, and it will hopefully help that skirt flare out at the sides without it pushing out forward or back. And it did. So we've added our volume and created the influence to kind of not force the shape, but influence the draping that we want to get the shaping of the shaping that we want out of this skirt. That's pattern making. It's fun stuff. Yes, I look at the stress mounts quite a bit. I actually do want a little bit more volume right here. And that's kind of what I'm looking at in this case, is I'm like, okay, I want a little bit more volume in this area, so I take that segment point, and again, since this is the only connection that's actually influencing the drape of the skirt, I can rotate from that point, and it will hopefully add a little bit more volume to the front. There we go. Right, so I do look at the strain map quite a bit. Now, one of the mistakes a lot of people make when they look at the strain map is they think red is just bad. A lot of times red is bad, but it isn't just always bad. Sometimes you have areas of tension. In a garment, a lot of areas are under tension, and it also depends on the material you're using. Like knits tend to stretch a lot more, so it's okay to have some red. Generally, I use it as just kind of a guide to see if things are fitting the way I want to, but red isn't always like the worst thing in the world. Does it matter where you add the triangular volume? Kind of. Okay. There we go. It's like, why did my stuff disappear? All right. So let's just cut this apart so we can add. It's sometimes easier just to look at it completely cut apart. Cut and sew. Cut. Are you gonna cut for me? Why are we not cutting? Oh, there we go. The hotkey wasn't working. Okay, so we can just physically add volume to the script. So let's look at this. So let's just say this is the new volume we want to add. You can just actually just sew that in. And again, if you imagine this as a piece of fabric, and you hold it up, that triangle is going to drape, and you're going to get that curve, and that's fullness. That's a triangle of fabric. So we've added it at this point. Let's say we added, we move this angle over here. It doesn't actually matter, right? If you add it like this or like this, the only thing that really matters is this point up here. Because if I added the triangle and it was like, and the angle was here, you're still ending up with the, match up please. Start. Yeah, you're still adding the same volume in both places, right? You're still going to, whoops. Oh, no, that's right. Okay, this is actually a better way to explain this. So, here we go. So if you rotate it this way or this way, the shape of the pattern doesn't change, right? Like the actual volume of this pattern piece doesn't matter. It only matters up here. I hope that made sense. Sometimes pattern making is something I love, but sometimes it is difficult to explain. Pattern making is so cool. I love it. Okay, let's merge this back together. What was I doing? I don't even remember. Oh, and in the same way, if you have too much volume in a certain place, you can get rid of it like that. So I'm looking at this. Well, this is actually fine. I'm not upset about the way this is draping at all. But let's say I had too much volume, like in this area. I just use my little blue dot to find the place. I'd grab the edges, and then I would rotate it in, right? And then you're reducing volume right there. Anyway, have I tried scaling the mesh beyond 100%? If so, how do you control the fabric behavior while doing that? For game characters, we need good secondary folds, so sometimes we have to go above 100% scaling to achieve the desired result. Okay, no. Well, yes, actually, I do go above 100% on, wait. You mean on like shrinkage? Scaling it above 100% on shrinkage, I assume. So, oh boy, I might be going on another rant here. My goal when I'm creating a garment is never to create folds and wrinkles. In fact, my two least favorite words in the world are folds and wrinkles. Folds and wrinkles don't matter. It drives me nuts. Like, so many people will ask me, like, how do I make wrinkles? How do I make folds and wrinkles? And it's like, you're not making folds and wrinkles. You're making a garment. A garment, or a costume or whatever, just by being a garment or a costume will have wrinkles. And if you make it correctly, you will get the wrinkles where they need to be. If your goal is to create wrinkles, you've already lost. It's, again, the term folds and wrinkles, when I see people be like, oh, here, let me teach you how to make folds and wrinkles in Marvelous Designer, I just die inside. You're making a garment, and folds and wrinkles will happen. There are ways to... Folds and wrinkles are actually... They tell you valuable information about the way the garment is constructed. There are ways to construct a garment so that you will get the folds and wrinkles that you want. Again, folds and wrinkles aren't some mysterious thing that just magically happens. A wrinkle, or a fold or wrinkle in clothing is just... It's either compression that is happening, or there's tension happening in the parallel direction. It's either compression in a perpendicular direction or tension in an extension way. But the goal of Marvelous Designer should never ever be to create wrinkles. That's just incredibly wrong. I know, Hot Topic. I got some spicy takes here, but folds and wrinkles are my two least favorite words. I hate that. Anyway, but to answer your question, Okay, so again, there's nuance to this too. I'm being pretty just very brutal about it, but there is some nuance to it. In that there is a lot of garment construction that does utilize that kind of like gathering to create a visual surface effect where you stretch a piece of fabric and so it's something smaller and you get the gathering on the edge. That's something that you utilize to make a garment. Anyway, the wrinkle brush. Like I say, I can get pretty what's the word? I don't know. I don't know. But there is some nuance to the discussion. But by and large, if you make the garment correctly, you will get the correct wrinkles. And the wrinkles that look the best are wrinkles that are correct. Like, the thing we see most next to like a person's face is the clothing that they're wearing. We just humans intrinsically understand what is correct when it comes to wrinkles on clothing. And when you start going off script and just being like, this thing is fabric, so I need to put wrinkles on the surface to make it look like fabric, it never works. It never works quite right. Because humans just understand what should be correct in terms of wrinkles. And so you need to just like let the wrinkles happen and they will look good. Maybe this is relevant. When I talk to character artists in the games industry, I get looked at as an alien for starting my garment in MD. Yeah, I know, it's modelers. It's interesting. I love modelers. I have so many good friends that are modelers, but philosophically, we don't. When it comes to like costumes and garment creation, we don't always see eye to eye. So I'll tell you that. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm right, but who knows? I'm a passionate person, you guys. Passionate. All right. Let me start working on this before I get in more trouble. Okay. What do we need here? Okay, so there's like this bottom head. Let's make that. Was it fantastic question though? I love the question. All right, let's offset as internal line. That's amount. Thanks, Frederick. I mean, I do miss this. All right. Let's see. Did I do that right? What am I even doing? Okay. Like you say, I have a single core brain. I'm not multi-threaded. Oh, that's my fabric. Some of the sci-fi assets. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you definitely do need to model when it comes to like a character asset. Yeah, like so there's some sci-fi stuff. So sci-fi has so much hard surface modeling stuff. You absolutely need to get that stuff modeled. But in terms of cloth, I mean, if you got a cloth asset, just make it cloth. Yeah. Yeah, just let it happen naturally. I mean, when things happen naturally, they look better. One of the reasons I actually do like working on this like anime character here is I really like the juxtaposition of like a very stylized character with like hyper realistic clothes. It's something that I don't see in like any type of media, generally if there's like a stylized character, they're like, ah, it needs stylized clothes. And that's something I'm just like, I don't agree with that at all. I'm like, it's like really realistic clothes. It doesn't clash with like the stylization of the character. It creates this like very interesting contrast, which I really, really like. So I love making just like really realistic clothes for like stylized characters. I think it looks good. It's almost like inverted cosplay a little bit, where it's just like, here, take the anime character and put real clothes on him. I think that's fun. Yeah. Okay, I should make stuff here. Over. That is weird that it's tugging me so much. Actually, no, you know what? Let's just move on. We've made a dress. I don't need to do all the finalizing touches. They can take a while and be tedious. Let's move on to something more fun. Let's see, did I actually make this correctly? Did this work? Yeah, it looks all right. Could have done better, but that's fine. That tutorial was cool. Ah, thank you, thank you. There's a lot of really fun techniques you can do with stuff like that. Okay. Let me, 1 second. Turn this off. Okay. All right, what do I want to make? Should I just make like a skirt? I don't know what I want to make now. I've got all these Pinterest images and I'm just like paralyzed by choice now. Oh, you know, oh, like, for example, here's something I made just the other day. Yeah. Like, isn't that cool? It's like super realistic clothing, but then it's like on stylized character. I think it looks really fun. I'm gonna just make a skirt. That's like, that's a really short skirt though. Where did my stuff go? Yeah. Let's do like this, please. Actually, this might work well for like, I don't know. I haven't talked about this in a while, but the variable fold. Yeah. Let's go. This might be good for that. Okay. Here we go. Let's grab all this stuff. Start with our sloper. No. An archive. Where's the unarchive? There it is. Alright. Again, anytime I'm making something, doesn't matter, skirt, pants, whatever, I always start with just like a basic slope or a basic shape. Okay. So we got a skirt. Pleated skirt. So, actually, usually pleated skirts, I don't even start with the sloper because I think we'll make this one just a little bit longer than this skirt because this is really short. Okay. Let's change the fabric up. How do we want to approach this? So yeah, that's one of the things I always do when I'm creating a garment is I always try and strategize out my approach here. Is this even a pleated skirt? This might just be like one of those crappy Hot Topic things. It's not even a real pleated skirt. But we'll make it a proper pleated skirt. Because this is inspiration only. Okay. Here we go. So first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of the dart, right? Because the dart is just removing the volume in the back, and we don't want any darts in our pleated skirt. Come on, center. Oh, whoa, no. Whoa, 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 why are we... All right, gotta file a bug report. Apparently there's no extend trim to pattern outline. Cool. Pleats with an insane fold angle? Maybe. I don't know. I'm looking at this, and this just looks very, and even in this image, it looks very cheap. Like, does not look like a high-end type skirt. I don't know. I don't know what high-end even is anymore. Some high-end stuff is not great. Oh man, we haven't even touched on the rip and tear yet. Crap. There's some cool stuff for this new new version of Marvelous Designer. Okay, I want to change. Let's go with like what kind of fabric do I want? What kind of fabric do I want? Let's go with the canvas. Going to be a little. It's pretty heavy. Maybe 45 on buckling. I don't want it to buckle too much. Yeah. Oh, you can rip and tear. Yeah. I probably won't utilize it much, just because of the way I work. But like as a feature, it's really cool. Yeah. We can just show the rip and tear real quick, because why not? It's a cool thing. Doom Guy would be proud. Is this? What am I doing? Okay, my brain's not working right now. I'm doing this so wrong. Because a pleated skirt, hang on, do I want to make this a shaped pleated skirt? Traditional pleated skirt is just a rectangle that's been folded over, right? You can do like a shaped pleated skirt where there's some shaping in it and you get even more volume, but generally, okay, so I gotta think how I want to do this. I guess I can just do a shaped pleated skirt, that's fine. Because then I just gotta get rid of the side curvature here. Okay, whatever. It's fine, we're just going along. We're just going with it. I don't want to do that much volume. Because when you start adding pleats, you do start adding like a lot of volume. Pleats add a surprising amount of volume, so I don't want too much initial volume to start with. Okay, this is fine. This is great. Let's straighten that hem out, so it's a little bit of a straighter hem from the side seam. Let's move this side seam over. Actually, we're gonna need to merge this in anyway. Okay, that's fine. What else? I don't know. I have no plans for the future. I'm just, God, I'm one day at a time. Come on. I don't have any plans at all. So let's see what happens. Gonna merge this together. Okay, we got two nice panels. Okay, let's say we want this skirt to have a ripped hem. Now, the functionality that the kind of described for their like vision for this was like, oh, if the character gets animated and his shoulders like he does like a Hulk transformation and gets bigger, the seams will tear. But there's a lot of other use cases you can use the ripping and tearing for. It's got a really cool fraying effect. I know there was someone else in the Discord channel, the Marvelous Designer Discord channel, who did like this frayed edge on his skirt. It looked really, really good. I actually haven't done that, but I'll give it a try. I want to give them credit for this because they're the ones who like figured this out. Let's see. So the way you do rip and tear is you create a seam. So I'm just going to create a seam here on the bottom, and then we can go to a seam line rip, and you can just apply the seam line rip either to the entire seam or just to a portion of a seam. And then did that do it? I've not played with this very extensively. I've only played with it just like a tiny little bit. You can go and you can, okay, so they've got all these really cool settings. You've got like the fray distance, the bridge probability, root offset. Like this is a really cool technical thing here. And then to rip, this is my favorite part about this, is you just grab it and you start applying force to it. I think there's a way to turn down the force. There we go. And it rips, right? So it starts ripping like that. And you can change the force of it. And then again, you can go into here, edit the rip. You can start editing all this, like the fray parameters in here. And you can just like torn knees and all kinds of really, really cool stuff. This is like really cool thing. That's the bridge probability, and there's like settings to change how it like tears. Thickness variation. Oh, there we go. You can like have it hang down a little bit more there. The wavy variation. Change up the gravity, length, and all that stuff. I know, right? It's really pretty cool. And you can just like start tearing it. But yeah, like just for a frayed edge, this looks like freaking amazing. Like if you just had like ripped jeans, right? Like ripped jeans, man. Come on. I don't know if it exports as geo or not. Because it is geo. It's like actual physical geo in here, and it like simulate. Wait, does it simulate? I don't know. I think it might just ride along. Okay, but that's fine. Yeah, this is really, really fun. I think you can export, maybe it exports as curves. I don't know. Can I change the shape? Like I said, I've played around with this just very, very minimally, so I don't know the ins and outs of it. But it's pretty sweet. What are we doing? Oh, here we go. Use fabric material. There we go. Yeah, look at that. I wonder, can you apply a separate material to this? I don't know. Anyway, that's fabric rip, and that actually, this, I think, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be in the upcoming release, which should be pretty soon. In the next, I don't know, couple weeks, months? I actually have no idea, but the seam line rip will be in the next version, which is very, very exciting. This is a beta build, or they Marvelous Designer on their Discord, they sent out, like, do you want to be a beta tester? You can beta test the software, so I'm testing it for like bugs and things. But it will be, this is the next version of their software, so it's not in there yet, but it will be, which is very exciting. Yeah, so we've got this, like I said, the variable full tool. I talked about that earlier in the stream, but it's worth talking about again because this is by far the best feature. So, okay. This is why I wanted to make the pleated skirt to begin with. Man, I'm all over the place today. Sorry, guys. So, man, that extend trim thing. Okay, I gotta report, do a bug report on that because I need my extend trim. Listen, I love Marvelous Designer. I do. Okay. All right. So let's say you make an internal line. You're making a pleated skirt, which we are. We're making a pleated skirt. You create the internal line. This is the feature I'm single most excited about. Right, like this. Actually, let's go the other way. Nice and strong. Boop, boop. Okay. Okay, so you got this nice little fold angle in your skirt. You're like, crap, it goes all the way up. What if I don't want it to go all the way up? Well, now you can just grab this. You can turn on variable. And then when you sim, actually this is not a great color for this. It gradiates. It gradiates down. Look at that. And if you wanted to flip it the other way, you just flip it the other way. Now the fold angle folds the other way. I am so excited about this. This is like the best feature. Mona Millions, hello, hello, hello. So yeah, we got seamline ripping, we got fold angle. They've actually added in this beta version. They've added quite a few new things. I haven't even touched on a lot of them. They like improved the zipper, because the zipper used to be like actually pretty bad. I never used the zipper, but now the big change they made to the zipper is actually just that you can put it on in the 2D window. Like before you had to do it in the 3D window. Now you can just do it in the 2D window just like properly, and it just works. And then the other thing they did is the zipper does come out as a pattern piece. I'm not sure if it used to do that also, but it does now also do that too. So it's not just like something that doesn't exist in the 2D pattern window. It actually is a proper piece of geometry in the 2D window, which is super good. Sublayers? I know, sublayers would be nice. I'd love sublayers. There's a few clothes things that I'm like, come on guys. What are we doing? And then what else? Oh yeah, the big one. So they've got this new feature. You know, let's just go through it. Let's just go through it. This is one, it's not fully there yet, but I'm really excited about the concept of this. And that is they call it the wrinkle. What do they call it? Actually, it's really weird how you have to set this thing up. Go to preferences. I don't know if this actual feature is going to be in the proper release because it does seem a little bit early, but I'm really excited about this one too. Preferences. What else have they had? They have a whole list of the new features because I'm not even touching on a lot of them. What am I doing? Wait. No. Oh, right. You got to go over to the simulation properties. Pinching simulation override. Okay, we need to turn that on. So now, skirt isn't the best thing to give an example on this. I know, I never use zippers. I always just put in like just a pattern piece and then applied a zipper texture to it. I never used it, but the zipper tool it's usable now, which is huge improvement, really exciting. Okay, simulation pinching override, we can turn this on. Okay, so this is where it gets a little tricky. We need to, okay, we can update rest shape, reset rest shape. We need to turn on the override. I'm gonna crank up some values here. The values are actually, I wonder why that's 17. It's really weird that they have the bending bias low. I'm gonna turn that up to like 80. And then it's interesting, let me turn this down to 1. Gravity, we want 0. Let's turn the gravity down to 0. Again, I hope they kind of like simplify this whole interface because I sort of understand it, but I think if you're like not familiar with this, you're just like, what am I even looking at? So, okay, we're just gonna turn the override strength up to 100. Okay. So now they do have this like brush pinching. The brush pinching I've always had, I haven't gotten it to work particularly well just because it creates the wrinkle, but then it just kind of falls out, right? They need a better way to kind of hold these wrinkles in. But the thing that it does do, not this wrinkle brush specifically, because that's basically just like this hand, but in brush form to create wrinkles, is you can create wrinkles like this. And then, crap, this is the other thing I really hate, is that when you turn off the simulation, this thing goes away. So I can update the rest shape. So what a rest shape is the default neutral state of the fabric. So normally in Marvelous Designer, the rest shape of this bodice piece here is flat. Like this shape in the pattern window is the rest shape. It is flat. The reason it has curvature is because it's being draped over the body. when I've updated this rest position here, when I did that update rest shape, the rest shape of this skirt is now, these wrinkles are basically built in. This is the neutral shape of the skirt. Rather than being flat, the neutral shape is this shape right here. And this is super valuable. This is like super, super good because, again, when you simulate this, and let's just turn off the simulation override strength here. So when we go back to the, oops, let's turn our gravity. Actually, let's just turn this whole thing off. One moment. Okay. So when we go back to our natural fabric properties, this wrinkle is built in, right? So it's going to drape out just because the weight of the fabric is pulling it down and it's still fabric. I hope that didn't reset it. Hold on. Did that reset it? Crap, that might have reset. Let me see. It should. Oh yeah, that got reset. Hold on. I guess if I turn it off, it gets reset. That's annoying. Alright. Simulation override on. Linear gravity 0. Okay, let's try this again. So we're going to crank this up. And we're just going to update the rest shape there. So that is now our new rest shape. And if we turn our override strength is off. Okay. So these wrinkles are now built into the skirt. So if I go with like stronger fabric properties, if I like crank the bend stiffness up, because the fabric properties get stronger, this wrinkle is going to come back. If I turn the bend stiffness down and make it into like a light silk fabric, that rest shape will still be there. Like it will still be trying to return to that wrinkled state, but the gravity and the fabric will pull it down. So we go back down to 33. But this is the rest shape of the fabric. So this is like super exciting that they're like starting to put in these rest shapes because they are really, really valuable in terms of just like art direction. Like I know we always get art directed for stuff, but it still needs a little work. But I'm really excited about that. Anyway, that's one of the other cool features. Let me just turn this off. What am I looking for? Oh, right. Turn the simulation off. Okay. Yeah. They're a little like memory folds. Yeah, they're a little bit like memory folds. It's a little bit hard to explain exactly, but rest shapes are really cool, and I'm really excited they're finally putting stuff like that in. Is there anything else they added? Hold on, let me see. There's a list here. They have just a lot of little quality of life stuff. They have like autosave, like iterative autosaves, so that you don't have just one autosave. Just little stuff like that. They did something. There's a lot of stuff that I'm like, I'm just like, that doesn't apply to me, so I'm not gonna really test it. But there's probably some stuff in here that's cool that will be useful to a lot of you that just doesn't matter to me. Oh, they did some kind of improvement to OBJ garment import, I think. Zipper stuff. Oh, there's some 3D pencil improvements. Blend shape, and I still need to play with the blend shape stuff. Yeah, it's a pretty big update, which is exciting. Anyway, yeah. Man, I forgot how exhausting this was. So I'm actually going to go. How long have I been streaming? I feel like I've been streaming for like, how many hours? Hold on. Why is this not coming up? Where's my OBS? Tell me how long. Man, everything is in different places. I can't figure out what. Does this not tell me? Anyway, I'm sure it's been like 5 hours, so it's not been 5 hours. It was really awesome to stream again, and hopefully I will do this again. It was really great seeing some of you again and a lot of you for the first time. But yeah, this is New Marvelous Designer, and I guess I'll see you guys later, I hope. Not too long. It was really fun chatting with you guys, talking about patterns and all that, so I know. It's sad to leave. I'm like, I kind of need to leave, but I don't want to also. But anyway, bye guys. It's been fun. It won't. I promise it will not be 5 years, but I don't know when I'll stream next. But I'll see you guys.